Warning. The following podcast is utter nonsense and may cause agoraphobia, kleptomania, insomnia, and oppositional defiance disorder. We are required by law to provide you with this disclaimer for hazardous materials.
And welcome to Hazardous Materials. My name is Casey Johnson. With me, as always, is Gideon Gonzalez.
How you doing, Casey?
I'm doing pretty well. We were struggling a little bit with the news week on this one, so I think we're going to focus a little bit more on comics.
It's true. And just to help us out, listeners, if any of you guys have news stories you want us to cover, just let us know in those comments below. Also, have any issues or just general character questions, we are now always accepting answers. So please let us know what you need.
Indeed. I think we're going to jump into like the biggest headliner right now is DC's continuation of Doomsday Clock, issue number 11.
And that issue actually came out.
It actually came out, and it is exposition heavy.
Yeah, I've been a huge cheerleader for this book, and this issue is mostly just Ozymandias explaining his whole plan.
Which it feels like we've been here before.
Yeah, and it felt a little self-serving for Ozymandias, I thought. Yeah. Because the original character does debatably horrific supervillain things, depending on how you read the book. But ultimately, it's like in service of something else. Mm-hmm. This felt like a very Lex Luthor-y plot, which I did really like the Lex stuff in it.
Now, I have to admit, I only read maybe the first issue, maybe half of the second issue. So we're up to issue 11. There's a lot of stuff in here I have no idea about.
Yeah, I can see how that would be very, very jarring with them going in.
Yeah, just going right in.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole premise of this going in, my understanding was that Dr. Manhattan was guilty of creating New 52. He was guilty of pretty much any weird time travel inconsistency.
They go into that in issue 10, which is one of my favorites of the series.
And what is it? One of those, hey, it wasn't Dr. Manhattan, it was me, Ozymandias.
Actually, no, it was Dr. Manhattan, number 10. Yeah, it goes through him as he is like methodically like editing the DC universe, figuring out like, oh, if I say move the Green Lantern away from Alan Scott, that stops the Justice Society from happening. And that affects superheroes in this way. And that changes when Superman lands. It's really interesting and cool. Highly recommend coming back.
Read issue 10.
Yes, definitely. Everyone should. Great issue.
I don't know. I just had really low expectations for this book. I really did.
See, I've been like riding that roller coaster high with Geoff Johns and Gary Frank, where every week Doomsday Clock would actually come out. It was my favorite book that week.
Wow.
But this week it was not.
Yeah. This basically just kind of goes the entire time is this Ozymandias saying, okay, well, I did this, I did that. And Batman discovers that picture of Dr. Manhattan when he was a man.
Yes.
In the 1950s. Mm-hmm. But it's like showing up all over the world. And it's like.
And Lex Luthor's been collecting them because
it's like Lex Luthor that was doing it, not Batman.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because he's been leaving this subconscious trail of every time he's edited a time in the DC universe. And Lex Luthor has like hundreds of them.
So he's like just marking it.
Exactly.
You know, like he's on a golf course with like a
just
nickel
like
or a
sprinkles
quarter
in there.
Yeah. So where do you think this is going?
I'm really curious how they're going to wrap it all up in one issue, because I mean the last page is Superman, Dr. Manhattan making eye contact.
Yeah, that seems to me like that's an atom bomb waiting to go off.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how that's going to go down. I've been hoping to be more of the two just like having a good sit down discussion. I'm worried it's just going to be action figure bang bang punchy comic.
Well, it's Geoff Johns. I will give him that.
He does do my favorite action figure punchy comics.
He does, but I mean, his stuff tends to be quality. And I mean, he made Black as Night, man. Made Black as Night.
Sinestro Corps War. Sinestro Corps War is still one of my favorite event comics ever.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of that, we're going to go into the book that Geoff Johns made famous and then abandoned and left it to poor writers. But it's been saved recently, and that's Green Lantern.
By Grant Morrison and Liam Sharpe. Grant Morrison is probably my favorite writer ever. Like, love his stuff. Liam Sharpe's done great work on Hulk in the 90s, most recently with Wonder Woman in Rebirth. And it just gives this great pulpy feel to Green Lantern that it's never really had before.
Yeah, they're trying to kind of square it away as they want him to be a cop book.
Yeah.
And they re-emphasize that like almost every issue. It's like, we don't do that. We're cops.
But it's like a police procedural where they slap cuffs on God.
Yeah, exactly. I was wondering, you're under arrest. Like, what? I have to admit, I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. And of course, made more by Green Lantern Rebirth and everything Geoff Johns did up into Blackest Night and even somewhat with Brightest Day. But then another writer, Venditti, got involved with Green Lantern. And he seemed to just not really care much about what Johns was doing and just kind of pieced it all apart. Yeah. And then I checked out. And I've been checked out ever since.
I hadn't bought a Green Lantern comic. Well, I bought some of Green Lanterns. Green Lanterns was a lot of fun with that was the one with Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz. Really good book.
That they canceled that though recently, didn't they?
Yes, yeah, that ended right when the Green Lantern started up.
Yeah, and that's what, like 11 issues now into?
Yeah, 11 issues. We're about to wrap up season 1 because they're going to do like a seasonal model. We're going to have a Black Stars miniseries in between them. I'm pretty excited for that.
So it looks to me like there's a bunch of Green Lanterns from different universes.
Yes, that's been the current arc.
That's going on right now.
Big multiverse story with Magic Lantern, my personal favorite one.
That's the one that DC did, or that Stanley created, right?
No. That's like the Swamp Thing style one. Who looks like Dr. Manhattan. Magic Lantern is a joke character that Grant Morrison created for Animal Man as a character in Limbo, where he's got like the T-shirt. He looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh God, yes.
He's the stoner Green Lantern.
Let's also talk about the Green Lantern that looks like he's got a flashlight.
Oh yeah, flashlight. He's really fun.
What's up with this guy?
He was from Multiversity. He was from one of the alt Earths. He's in a relationship with his universe's Flash, who I think his name was Ray Allen. And he was kind of just like one of because Grant and his collaborators made a ton of background characters in Multiversity.
So why? And then I say this because I haven't really read the issues, and I'm trying to put together what I read. Why are all these multi-universe Green Lanterns together? Are they all trying to get that the golden gentleman they arrested by the end of the
yes, the Keeper of the Cosmic Grail,
the Golden Lantern?
Yes, who's been drawing in Green Lanterns and then controlling them. But the bigger threat is the Quaman, who, if I'm reading it correctly, which I'm fairly certain I am, is supposed to be the antimatter universe equivalent of Hal Jordan.
It seemed like it was like Cyborg Superman almost.
He's got like, the cybernetics, but he's got like that long brown flowing hair. And with the book being all about like multiversal Green Lanterns, I feel like it makes sense for it to be like an anti-Hal Jordan.
Huh.
Also, really like that my boy Sinestro popped up.
Yeah. He did pop up, gave a little bit of foreshadowing, just kind of chilled out for the rest of the issue. I'm
excited to see what Morrison does with Sinestro because he is one of my all-time favorite villains.
And right now, Sinestro abandoned the Sinestro Corps, so he no longer has the yellow ring. And he has the invisible spectrum,
the ultraviolet
ring.
Yeah. So I think it's basically just a way to justify putting him back in the Periwinkle Silver Age outfit.
Yeah, pretty much. And from what I understand, the ultraviolet ring does your usual lantern stuff, but it's also got a level of sentience to it. Like you can create like a pseudo life with it.
Yeah, he can also do like some mind control stuff with it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what I feel like about him leaving the Sinestro Corps, man.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm not really a big fan of the whole invisible spectrum
But
thing.
I like everything they've done with him outside of Justice League. Like, I really love that Sinestro one-shot from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, see, I read that. I wasn't a fan.
I really dug it.
I wasn't a fan. I think it's because maybe I'm just old and I just don't like change. I want him to stay in the outfit. Yeah. I mean, it really just worked for me.
I mean, you can always just go in with a highlighter and change that up.
I actually had the Green Lantern coloring book just because it was a Sinestro coloring book.
Ooh,
it was a lot of yellow going on. I got out my markers for that was fun, and that's the thing I thought of right when you said that. It's like, I really wish I could do that. Cool. All right, so now with Green Lantern, I'm gonna have to check that out now. I mean, it does seem like a quality book, although the art leaves something to be desired with me.
I really dig Liam Sharpe.
He looks like he could do great on another comic that would be totally great about. But my art standards are just set so high by He Who Will Not Be Named.
I really love how every panel he draws looks like it belongs on the side of a van. Like, it's just such cool, high concept, epic. Like the Green Lantern's a sentient volcano.
But I want this. I want the solid blacks.
I love that.
I want the solid blacks back. I don't like this gray thing that they've been doing.
Did you check a few years ago during Darkseid War? They did a Green Lantern one shot that was by Tom King and Doc Shaner. Really, really good. Doc Shaner has I don't want to say minimalist because I feel like that's kind of disparaging, but it's a very like clean, almost Mike Allred style art. And it's got some good negative space stuff that I do like.
A clean style. I do appreciate a clean style. Mike Allred's probably an extreme version of the clean style. I mean, I like Bagley. Bagley is my go-to guy when it comes to clean art styles. Yeah. Or who was the guy that was doing Thunderbolts right around the time that Hawkeye was? It was that
was Mark Bagley, wasn't it?
No, it was after Bagley.
Oh, I'm totally blanking.
Is it Kurt? Is it Busiek? Am I seeing it right?
He writes it. Like Busiek
I'm getting confused about who the guy is. Oh my!
Bagley was on Thunderbolts for a good while.
I know this guy's name. I'm just blanking on it. Grummett.
Oh, Tom Grummett.
Yes. Yeah. I love that guy.
Great stuff.
Good, clean art. I wish I could see more of him. And if they were going to bring Thunderbolts back, I would love to see Grummett back on it. Because he did the good Baron Zemo issues back when he was the savior of Alt Earth.
I always love that one cover in the miniseries where the miniseries was in the Thunderbolts book, but it's the seductive Zemo cover. He's like in the door frame.
Apparently this is another thing we're always going to be talking about.
It's Thunderbolts. We love Thunderbolts too damn much.
Moving on to that, we're going to talk a little bit about what I thought was going to be the big reboot for Legion of the Superheroes.
It's a very deceptively titled book.
It's a deceptively titled book. A Legion of the Superheroes has almost nothing to do with this book.
Not a single Legionnaire appears in the book, nor is the Legion mentioned.
I mean, it seems almost like Tommy at the very beginning, who's interviewing what appears to be the main character, Rosenthorn.
Yeah, Tommy Tomorrow.
He seems like a Legion representative.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about Tommy Tomorrow, so I can't comment on that.
He just seems like the administrator.
Yeah.
He's like, if you want the Legion of the Superheroes administrative, this is the book for you.
Yeah. He's not even like a Legionnaire. He's like a Planeteer.
Yeah, so I don't even know what the hell a Planeteer is.
Me neither. Outside of Captain Planet, but it's obviously not Captain Planet. But I liked Present Supergirl was cool. I really liked her design.
I did too.
There was the Batman Beyond stuff was fine. My biggest issue with the book was I don't like the way Rosenthorn's written. Like, I in general like Brian Michael Bendis, but I feel like he doesn't have a great track record writing mental illnesses like with Sentry. I think Sentry kind of wound up becoming almost a parody of agoraphobia instead of being like a nuanced character like he was in the Jenkins stuff. And I feel like we're kind of dipping into that with his representation of DID with Rosenthorn. Like, it feels very much like the cartoon. Oh, no, I've got an evil side who's a serial killer / vigilante. And like, it just didn't land at all for me.
I really didn't enjoy this book.
Yeah, I don't like saying like.
I know you don't like crapping on books. You hate crapping on books. You were so positive about these things.
I want to like just talk about things I like, but this book was so big, and I was very excited for it because I was like, I've never really read Legion. I want to check it out.
I think this is going to be the disparity. You're always going to be talking about books you love, and I'm being the occasional guy that's like, I really hate this book,
and I'll be like,
and I'd be love to talk to you about why I hate this book.
You know what? I will say this. I'll say this about Legion Superheroes Millennium. Jim Lee, Andrea Sorrentino, Dustin Nguyen, and Andrea Araujo all put out really good artwork for it. Like, the book looks gorgeous. And I'm excited to see Ryan Sooks work on the main Legion Superheroes book.
For me, I know that it seems like the Legion of Superheroes is always in a constant possibility of the big reboot that's going to bring it back into the forefront.
Sorry.
I'm just saying, it just seems to me like I want the Legion of Superheroes I had back during the Darkseid Wars.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, because that was the best Legion of Superheroes ever.
Yeah, I've always wanted to read that story. Like, I've heard Great Darkness Saga thrown around as like one of the best DC Comics stories ever.
It was so good. And even as a kid, I was like, this is the best thing ever. I love Legion of Superheroes. And I started reading Adventure Comics digests, which were out around about that time. They're little books like this that would talk, 60s Legion hero stories. And that's how I found out about all the 1960s Legion superhero stories.
I kind of want to steer back to Doomsday Clock for a second, just because, speaking of Legion reboots, I feel like we got semi-confirmation of why like so much of this book has taken so long to come out. Because, well, besides the original initial art delays,
because he had to fix something.
Yeah, so they've been building up Saturn Girl as being a major part of the Rebirth story since DC Universe Rebirth #1, and she's been popping up sporadically in Doomsday Clock. And then this issue, she just gets dusted because that classic Legion's been erased from continuity.
Yeah, the whole thing. Oh, he doesn't remember me. Piff.
Yeah, and like, I was kind of hoping that the new Legion thing wouldn't be 100% reboot. It would be like a Legion Next Generation. That's why you could explain having similar characters that have the same code names and outfits, but are clearly different people. But now we're kind of in that same problem where you get the Legion where every decade they get completely reinvented to the point where it's like, oh, okay, like, it's just such a tough sense of continuity with the Legion.
And it breaks my heart because there's a lot of like, I want to say A-lister Legions. There's a couple of non-main lister Legion heroes I want to see extended stories with, like Wildfire or Dawnstar or Block, White Witch.
When do I get my Matter Eater Lad book?
Yes, when we have the Matter Eater Lad book that you desire.
The only Legion superheroes comic that I own is...
Holy crap, that would have like the same pull as like Gwenpool, I think.
It's this one cover from the 90s where it's like featuring an edible cover, and it has like Matter Eater Lad looking back at the reader with like a piece of the cover in his mouth.
Oh god, that would be great if they made like a die cut cover, like, and like the corner of it is like a bite mark.
Like the pitch is so easy. It's Space Jughead. Jughead's so popular right now. Make this happen.
Oh god, that would work.
Yeah, I kind of want to throw out to the viewers. Do you guys have favorite Legionnaires? Do you know who the Legion are? Do you care? Let us know.
There's
please.
So many Legionnaires out there.
I'm genuinely curious to see, just because Legion's never really been like a book in my head that's like a top tier one, but it has such a huge and vocal fan base that I'm really curious to see what
and
kind of...
George Perez used to do...
Yeah,
gorgeous issues with this thing.
George Perez used to work on it. Keith Giffen worked on it. Colleen Duran worked on it. Like, there's such a murderer's row of talent that's worked on Legion superheroes.
My all-time favorite Legionnaire is Wildfire, who was created by Cockrum.
Oh, yeah, Dave Cockrum.
And you definitely got some kind of old X-Men feel in his old classic outfit.
Because Storm, Nightcrawler, and Colossus were all like rejected Legion superheroes pitches.
Yes, they were. And I don't know what I would do if Nightcrawler was a Legionnaire.
Probably be way more into Legion superheroes.
Yeah, Nightcrawler bounced around and do a couple of different properties before it ended up in X-Men.
I mean, it's such a good idea. Yeah. I'm glad he stuck around.
I really am. Nightcrawler was my favorite X-Men.
He's a cool one.
Yeah, of course, you know, we won't go into the fact that Sabretooth is the perfect X-Men villain, but
maybe we'll do a top 10 X-Men for both of us.
Yes.
And I'll bring in my X-Men toys and play with them while we talk about it.
I want to play with toys.
Alrighty.
I want to play with, well, no, we'll talk about that later. We were originally going to talk about Transformers Ghostbusters 4, but I really, really, really want to talk about this when it's done, which is in issue 5.
Yes.
And talk about toys. I wanted Ectotron.
Oh, man.
So bad.
Me too. I've been hitting up GameStops trying to find him.
Yeah, I saw one at GameStop and I didn't have the money for it.
Fool.
I was a fool. I should have like mugged some kid or something.
Eat ramen noodles for a week.
And I also want that lovely, lovely Optimus Prime.
Oh, yeah. Who is featured in the book? They feature the Ghostbusters paint job Optimus Prime in the story.
Oh my God. I'm really looking forward to covering that.
My favorite thing about the book, though, running gag of Ghost Starscream getting sucked into ghost traps while he's delivering Starscream speeches. It's great.
Are they the long-winded soliloquies from the animated series?
Oh, yes.
Oh, God.
I just kind of want to like talk about the premise of the book.
Yes. Let's talk to me about the premise of the book because I haven't read it yet.
Like, no spoilers outside of like the first 4 pages that we got as previews for number 1. So it's an alternate timeline. It's set aside from any other continuity. I think it is in canon with the other Ghostbusters comics, though, from the same creative team,
which I have crap loads of.
Yeah, they're a ton of fun. But so Gozer the Gozerian,
Goes the Destructor.
The Destructor went to Cybertron, and in the middle of the war, approaches who are winning Megatron, Starscream, Soundwave, and Shockwave.
Okay.
And does the whole like choose the form of your destroyer.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's Starscream's mind that Gozer reads, and Gozer appears as what Starscream could imagine be something to destroy Cybertron, which is a gigantic Starscream with the crown and cape, wearing a necklace with the heads of the other Decepticon leaders, Optimus Prime, and the Matrix of Leadership.
That is a poster. That has to be a poster at some point.
It's so good. I died laughing when I saw that page.
Oh my God.
It's my favorite thing. I really want that accessory to put on my Starscream figure.
I am an absolutely huge Ghostbusters fan. I have ever since I was a kid. I've got crap loads of Ghostbusters stuff. I even have my own Tobin Spirit Guide, which I paid an exorbitant amount of money for. So when I found out about this, I was definitely all about it. And I'm definitely all about the toys, but I definitely want to read it in like one sitting.
We can do a fun deep dive on that one.
Yeah. Speaking of which, good exposition. Or transition, or whatever. We're going to be doing some smaller episodes, about 10, maybe 15 minutes, called deep dives. We're going to be going into heavy detail about characters that are just now coming up into pop culture. Like our first one is going to be Moon Knight, because we got that Marvel Studios TV show coming up.
And people keep asking about who the hell Moon Knight is.
Yeah, who the hell's Moon Knight? And of course, the short answer is he's Marvel's Batman. But it's so much more than that. So much more than that. We got a lot to talk about on that one. And after that, we're also going to do a little bit about the other Spider Women in the universe, other than Gwenpool. Because Sony does want to do a spin-off movie involving all the female Spider characters, which includes Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, and Cindy Moon, also known as Silk.
And then on the DC Universe side, I'm going to be trying to tackle Doom Patrol, one of my personal favorite team books of all time, Young Justice, which the classic comic, very, very different tonally from the show.
Yes.
And maybe Stargirl. We'll see if that show actually comes out. I'm pretty excited for it.
I did see some costumes from Stargirl.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
If nothing else, Joel McHale as the Star Spangled Kid is going to be amazing.
I love Joel McHale. I really miss the Joel McHale show that was on Netflix, which was a spinoff of The Soup.
Yeah. It was The Soup too, which I guess would be Chowder.
Too. Yeah, the Chowder. That has this definite Boston feel to it. Okay. You're going to talk.
Yes.
About this next one because I refuse to read this.
Spawn 300.
I don't know. Does this make me an elitist bastard because I won't touch a Spawn book?
Maybe a little bit.
Just a little bit. But I'm glad you're here for it.
I'm a moderate Spawn fan. Like, I've got probably 30 or so issues, which is a 10th of now the 300 issues of Spawn. And like, I don't know. Spawn is what it is. My initial review of Spawn 300 it is certainly pretty much the exact same Spawn comic that I have bought for the past 5 years. Like, every Spawn story's got a pretty similar, it's got a good solid rhythm to it. Like, you buy Spawn, you know what you're getting. And if you like Spawn, you're going to love it. If you're not that into the character, you're probably not going to be into the issue.
Who drew this?
Oh, man. Todd McFarlane put out an announcement that like everyone who's doing variant covers for the book, since, it's a big anniversary issue, will also be doing interiors. So besides the Toddster himself, we also have Greg Capullo, longtime Spawn artist.
Yep. Who used to do X-Force before then.
Indeed. J. Scott Campbell, who needs to know.
13.
Exactly. Another fellow Image founder. Jerome Opena, who is, I'm surprised was on this book.
I have no idea who that person is.
Jerome Opena does mostly Marvel work. I'm blanking on any of their work off the top of my head, but I know the name.
Okay.
Jason Sean Alexander, who's been the primary Spawn artist for the last year or so. And then I wrote Greg Capullo twice.
So did McFarlane do any internals?
Yeah, he did. I believe he inked some of Capullo's pages, and he did do some interior pages himself.
So the one thing I enjoyed about this was, I don't know if this is an alt cover or this is the main cover, but this is the cover that we got, which was the Spawn in a Spider-Man pose with the number 300 all over the cover.
Todd has done before, and I'll have to compare and see if it's not the exact same drawing that came out for Spawn, I think 227.
Yeah, and of course this is a playoff of Amazing Spider-Man 300, which was like the main real appearance of Venom.
Yeah.
The non-tongue version.
Indeed. The proper, creepy, square teeth. Venom.
Yes, before Larson just completely got disgusting with it and put a big slobbery worm coming out of his face.
I will say this about Spawn 300. It does have one super dope sequence of Al Simmons losing his costume and then just basically kind of spiritually remaking it by slapping some chains on himself, grabbing like the remains of the cape, and then stabbing through his arms to create the shoulders to like the arm spikes. It was pretty badass. I was like, okay, for an issue that I was kind of cool on, that was rad.
So it's my understanding that Al Simmons has been gone for a long time.
He was, and then he came back 50 issues ago.
Oh, it shows you how much I've been tracking on.
One of the things I liked about this issue was it mentioned Jim Downing, and I was like, hey, that was the Spawn that I was reading 50 issues ago, and when they killed him off, I dropped the book. So yeah, but now apparently he's going to be a major player again, so I'm excited about that. He was a half human, half angel hybrid who got the Spawn costume. So we got that sweet, sweet angel Spawn visage a lot more often, which were a lot of the covers that I kept from that.
That actually, that brings up something that I was thinking about a while back. Some people check out of books for a variety of reasons. Mm-hmm. You checked out because they killed off the new Spawn. Back when Walking Dead was out, I checked out when they killed Glenn.
Yeah,
in issue 100. Hey, Walking Dead fans. Ooh. Okay, so we love Glenn. But I'm curious. People listen to this. Did you have a favorite comic that you checked out on when a major character died? Let us know in the comments below. With that, we're gonna go into House of X.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which I think we should have been talking about at the very end of this show, but
House of X, the one where everyone dies.
Damn. Now, this makes me wonder even larger that this is just going to be an alternate Earth thing and we're not going to really see any serious outcome of this, because this has happened in X-Men books before where they've done, everything's really weird. We're not going to explain it to you. We're going to kill a few characters and then we're back to status quo.
We just did this game.
Yeah.
But that said, I trust Hickman. He hasn't done me dirty on this book yet. I'm trusting him.
But he did vaporize a lot.
He killed my boy Scott Summers.
Yeah, he practically killed Archangel off screen.
Yeah, Archangel died off screen despite him getting a very pretty variant cover.
Mystique got, whoopsed out into space.
Nightcrawler got a real sad death.
He did. He got vaporized.
Wolverine got a sad death.
Also vaporized.
Jumped into a sun.
Yep. Apparently you don't do that. You don't jump out in the orbit of the sun.
Did Monet die?
Okay. So last thing we see is she turned into Penance, which, damn,
cool as hell.
Very cool. I didn't know she could pull that stunt off, but hey, nice to have that in your repertoire.
I love my Red Sonic the Hedgehog 90s character.
Yes. And it does. This goes further to establishing the fact that Monet is, in fact, perfect.
Yeah.
And has every cool power in the book.
It's true. Monet's great.
Let's talk a little bit about Monet's power set. So what does she got? She got super strength. She has super durability. She can fly. She has telepathy.
And sometimes she has like little hand tongues.
Yeah, well, yeah,
when she's possessing her.
Because apparently her brother, what's their brother's name again?
M-Plate.
M-Plate is a mutant cannibal. He feeds off of the energy of mutants, and that's his whole thing. He's got mouths in his
Michael
hands.
Morbius hand mouths.
So when he jumped into M, actually during the time when she was in a relationship with Sabretooth.
Yes.
Now, how bad is it when Sabretooth leaves you because you're too monstrous?
Not great.
Which is exactly what happened to her.
Sabretooth didn't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah,
I know. Too good
but this
for
was
him.
back when, Sabretooth was actually trying to be a decent guy. He's like, you're killing people and I can't be a part of this, Em. I got to ditch you. Thankfully, she shook that, but now she's got this ability to turn independence.
Which, yeah, cool as hell. Very excited. I loving all the Gen X love that we're getting between Penance popping up and that Chamber and Mondo are going to be in New Mutants. And like, when was the last time Mondo showed up? Yeah,
last time I saw Mondo, he was a villain.
I remember they made Skin a villain. I didn't remember they made Mondo one.
Well, Skin wasn't a villain. Mondo was a villain because he got into the team under false pretenses.
Yeah,
and then
he
pulled a fast one on them, and he was like, this big villain. He was part of the original Gen X team, and then they pulled a Terra. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anybody knows what we're talking about? We're talking about the Teen Titans story, the Judas Contract, where new member Tara turns out to be a plant and a villain and working for Deathstroke.
Which, man, of all stories, weirdly turning out to be one of the most adapted comic stories ever that I can think of. Because like they did on the Teen Titans cartoon. They did an animated Teen Titans movie.
Which was great.
They just did it on Young Justice.
Yeah.
Like,
so
man.
they really love... Tara's got some legs on her.
Judas Contract. Real good.
Yeah, no kidding. Moving on. Because House of X really just felt like kill, die.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. I love those last couple pages where it was the look what they've done to us or look what they do to us. I actually had a coworker suggest that maybe what the deal with the issue with the whole series is that this is the vision that Moira is giving Xavier in Powers #1, that all of this is yet to pass, but this is just her showing like what will happen if they don't follow a certain other plan.
Is this the main download that Wolverine gave her?
Exactly. Like there's, oh man, so many good theories for Hawks and Pox out there. And it's so fun because they get smashed immediately the next issue. So you don't get too married to any of them.
Now, another thing came out today that really got my attention is the fact that Marvel got Mark Bagley to draw every single mutant ever.
For the upcoming X-Men #1.
And it made this massive poster that I want.
Yes.
I don't care how big that's going to take up my living room. I want this giganimous, narrow poster in my living room somehow. But yeah, he managed. I don't know how much money Marvel threw at him because, you know, Bagley is in high demand these days.
Yeah, he's doing hell of work.
And that was a George Perez stunt.
Yeah.
Which
it's JLA Avengers #3 nonsense.
Yeah. As far as I knew, only George could really pull off a team shot like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's good to know that Bagley can, though.
Exactly.
All right. With that, we're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. We're going to be coming back with stuff on Future Foundation and your lovely Immortal Hulk.
Yee.
Be back.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week, brought to you by Haphazard Fiction Studios. This is Brooke, and thanks everybody for tuning into this week's episode. As you may have noticed, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty with this week's episode, but this is an environment where we are going to continue to grow and evolve what we try to do, so please bear with us. But as a note, as we try to move this thing forward, we definitely would appreciate any support you can give, whether it's a subscribe, a like. Comments always are great for helping us grow the brand and grow what we're trying to create here for you guys. But one of the biggest things that you can do to help support us is to become a patron. If you have a chance, go check out our site at patreon.com and search Haphazard Fiction, or you can get there through our link at haphazardfiction.com. For as little as $3 a month, you have the capability of really helping us improve our equipment, maybe give us more time in the studio so that way we can, pump out more of these episodes and new content for all you listeners out there. Ultimately, we just want to thank you guys for tuning in this week, and we take you back to Casey and Gideon with their Hazardous Materials.
And we're back.
And now we are talking about Future Foundation #2 by Jeremy Whitley and Will Robson.
I read this, but did not read #1.
Fool.
That may be.
Shame. Great book.
I'm a huge fan of Power Pack.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first draw to this because it does in fact have Alex Power and Julie Power in it.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little thrown off by one small detail.
Which one?
Alex Power's facial hair.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's go back and read #1 because everyone gives them shit about it. Like,
it was a little jarring.
My boy Bentley keeps making fun of his lack of a beard. When he goes to recruit Julie for the Future Foundation, her first comment is, "What is that on your face?"
It's just, I'm drawn to it immediately. It's like this thing I just can't stop staring at, like a traffic wreck.
Alex trying to be treated like an adult.
Yeah,
because he's the leader of the Future Foundation now.
And this
he's
actually comes
Professor Power.
This comes like a week or two after a Power Pack one shot that the original creators did.
Yeah.
June Brigman
and Louise Simonson.
Which I loved Power Pack back in the day. So it was nice to see the both of them back. And I've always wondered why June Brigman never did anything after that.
It's a good question. I'm not really familiar with any of her other work, but I do love me some Louise Simonson stuff.
And it is a good example of a book that was entirely done by women.
Yeah, I do feel a little bad because the only Power Pack issues I've read are the X-Men crossover issues.
Power Pack number 27.
Most of
the Mutant Massacre crossover.
Yeah. When the book gets really, really dark when they hang out with the X-Men.
Dark. There's a Sabretooth on the cover
Those
of it.
Inferno tie-ins too.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
They were really brave with it. As a matter of fact, there was one issue of Power Pack that didn't have the Comics Code Authority stamp on it because it used drug abuse.
Oh.
It pulled a Speedy.
Damn.
With one of Alex Power's friends taking either heroin or speed and dying.
Oh, jeez.
So Comics Code Authority wouldn't have any of that because, God knows 80s kids didn't need to know about drugs.
No, only the Ninja Turtles can tell you about drugs when they're hanging out with Garfield and the Smurfs.
Yeah. How did the Ninja Turtles get created? Like nuclear ooze in the sewers, and they're going to talk to me about heroin? Okay.
They know all about
created by heroin.
They live in New York sewers. They know where to get the smack.
They've got heroin in them. They are the smack kings.
But anyways, Future Foundation, probably my favorite depiction of the Maker since Secret Wars. Because he's popped up in like Venom and a couple other books. Mm-hmm. But this has felt like really, it gets into why he acts kind of so differently in each book. Because he's been segmented. And he's
they do talk
reality.
About the big differences between Reed Richards, us, and our Reed Richards, and their Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe.
Yes.
Which is what the Maker is.
I love those opening 2 pages where it's just parallels of their lives.
Yeah.
Like, that was such a cool sequence.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you what abuse will do to somebody and what privilege will do to another.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me of that meme when they were talking about the disparity of upbringing. If you've got everything handed to you, your life's going to be decidedly different versus if you've got to struggle for every single thing.
Yeah.
There's no equal floor once you're an adult and between those two.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on here. Doesn't really excuse the Maker for, going genocidal in his universe.
I mean, yeah, mostly. I mean, like, let's not ignore the fact that most of Ultimate Reed's villain descent is derived from the fact that he got shot down by Sue.
Exactly. You got to watch out, ladies. You're going to be creating supervillains with your proposal shoot downs. It's a dangerous comic world out there.
Probably wouldn't joke about that.
Yeah.
But the big reason I really want to talk about this issue was it's a return of a character that I really, really like that hasn't been in, at least not in continuity, at least not talked about for a few years. And that is Rob Liefeld and Jeff Loeb's greatest contribution to comics, Ricky Barnes' Nomad Girl Without a World.
Yes, Girl Bucky.
Yes, she was created for the Heroes Reborn universe as the new teen girl Bucky. And I think everyone realized, hey, this is actually a pretty good idea. And so she stuck around after Heroes Reborn. Mm-hmm. And Sean McKeever did the Nomad Girl Without a World book and then worked her into his Young Allies book. Really big fan of the character. And I really like her on the Future Foundation as this kind of world weary, but still like young girl who kicks wholesale ass. Like, she's been trained by Captain America. She's got like the Hollow Shield. She got all them Rob Liefeld pouches.
All the pouches. Yeah. As a matter of fact, is Alt Earth still a thing?
Probably.
Okay. So for those of you who probably don't know about this, back in the 90s, back when Marvel actually employed Rob Liefeld, Rob Liefeld and several others came up with the idea. It's like, you know what? Let's make image versions, I guess, of the big heroes and put them on their own universe with their own continuity. And they made what's called an alternate Earth. What was the official name of this? New Earth?
I don't remember. But imagine, if you will, a world where the Avengers sell so poorly that they just have them all die in a fight with Magneto and Professor X merged into Onslaught, mm-hmm. and then just completely reboot them because they're like, well, nobody cares about these characters. We got to make how do we make people care about Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor?
Yeah, there was a time when the Avengers was a serious deal, this book. I mean, it didn't get anywhere near numbers. Even when people started talking about an Avengers movie, it was still during a time where the Avengers was like,
I mean, like,
yeah. I mean, you had the new Avengers.
New Avengers had happened.
New Avengers happened that made Avengers relevant again.
Yeah, but I mean, that book also had like Spider-Man and Wolverine running around in it,
and Spider-Woman,
one
of my favorite all-time characters,
and my man Luke Cage. Which, Cage was so good in New Avengers. Loved that. I miss him being like a mainline Avenger.
I do. Where is he these days?
Luke Cage. He's been showing up in the Jessica Jones OGNs they've been doing. They're digital first. Because his last solo book by David Walker was really good, but that got cut really short.
I saw him in Jessica Jones' short story that was done recently.
Yeah.
Where she was just talking about her life as being a mom and being what she is. And they were on a talk show.
Yeah, that was in Marvel 1000.
Yeah, that's right. I like that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think that was written by David Walker. And I loved all of the Luke Cage stuff because he did that Cage solo book and he did Power Man and Iron Fist with Sanford Green. One of my favorite books was coming out, but tragically cut short by like issue 18. But really fun book where you've got Danny rocking a yellow on black Enter the Dragon jumpsuit, but with the colors reversed.
Yeah.
And you've got Luke Cage wearing a 3-piece suit. Like both really, really sharp character designs.
How did we get into Power Man and Iron Fist from Future Foundation?
Because they're great.
That's definitely, we just leapfrog along the way on that one. Where were we left off on Future Foundation?
I'm excited that Ricky Barnes is back.
That's right.
I like having like a cool, like a tactical character with a bunch of science nerds. Like my boy Bentley 13, the clone of the Wizard.
I remember now exactly why we got a little off track. I was still explaining what happened with Marvel. So they grabbed the Fantastic Four, they grabbed the Avengers, and they grabbed Captain America solo book. Yeah. And they canceled them. And they rebooted them on this alternate Earth. So they put this Earth on the exact opposite orbit of real Earth. So it's in...
Oh, it's a counter Earth.
Yeah, it's not even a dimensional jump. It's in our universe. But you got the sun here, you got Earth here, and you got counter Earth doing this bit. Yeah. And they're always apart from each other.
I think counter Earth is still around, just no one talks about it.
Yeah. So they put all the heroes on this planet, which was created by Franklin Richards, because Franklin Richards can do anything.
Yes.
And they ran their stories, and they were awful.
They were
really awful.
I'll go to bat for Jim Lee's Fantastic Four. It's a fun, dumb action movie, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, but it did create this character.
Yeah, Ricky Barnes, who is great. And I'm very happy to see her again.
So what did she bring?
She brought her hollow shield. She brought an ass-kicking attitude. And I'm not sure where you're leading with this question.
Well, I'm kind of curious. How'd she show up? I mean, did she show up in an agenda or?
Oh, like in the book here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She has been in a space prison for undetermined space crimes.
Space crimes.
Another one of my favorite bits is Julie Power getting arrested, not realizing that all those lizard people they hunt in Power Pack have had a bounty out for all the Power kids.
Oh, the Snarks.
Yes.
Yeah, I would imagine they would have a bit of a grudge.
For crimes against the Snarks, she gets arrested. And that's how she winds up meeting with Ricky.
And then we find out what happens when a speedster loses their power right in the middle of a run.
Whack. Not a funny.
That did not work out for her. She broke some bones on that one.
Yeah.
I've always been curious about that one. You know, I've seen stuff like happen with Johnny, whatever his name, from...
Johnny Quick from
Crime Syndicate.
Yeah.
When he got his powers taken away and he broke his legs.
Yes.
That was awesome. I hated that character.
Speaking of horrific wounds.
Oh my God.
It's Immortal Hulk week.
It is time for Immortal Hulk. I have finally started reading Immortal Hulk.
Yes.
And damn.
So good.
Damn. This book is seriously disgusting.
Yeah, in the best possible way.
In the best possible way. I mean, we're obviously kind of jumping the gun on this because we're all talking about that horrific last page.
Yes, and hopefully we can get a graphic for it because...
Yes, yeah, if my editor can put up yes, he's giving me a thumbs up. We're definitely looking probably right now at what happened to Immortal Hulk.
After having... So the new Abomination has, like... acid puking as one of his powers. And before he had used it to melt the Hulk's limbs off. And Hulk was a screaming torso for an issue. This issue, he shoots it in his eyes and Hulk gets real messed up.
And just out of spite.
Tears his face and chest off.
You see his rib cage and his organs.
And you see like an eyeball popped out with his face. And, oh my God, it's so good.
That was horrific.
Like
I'm in for good now.
Joe Bennett needs all of the Eisners because good God, that man can draw viscera.
Oh my God, that was disgusting. I am totally in on Immortal Hulk.
And I think the thing that I actually kind of missed and I had to have someone point out to me, I mean, like I read the words, but the meaning didn't click with me, is when he's tearing his face off, he's saying Hulk Smash, which is not something the Devil Hulk says. Like, I think the the tearing the face off is him switching into the Savage Hulk again.
Yeah.
Because Savage Hulk shows up on the cover later on.
Well, I mean, not only does fear and anger kick in the Hulk, but it's also pain.
Yeah.
So extreme pain is going to freak you out just a little bit in the gamma spectrum.
Because like the way they've been doing kind of like the character switches before in the series is like night, day, and death. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited to see, but Savage Hulk hasn't shown up in this book at all. This is his first time popping up.
So many Hulks. So many Hulks. So who is this abomination? Because this is not Abel Bronsky.
This is General 14, who is, I think he's been established before, but I don't remember him. They mention in the book like he's worked with General Ross for years. And he's on that similar path that General Ross was of becoming a monster as you hunt a monster. Except the monster that he's becoming is stepping into the hollowed out fused corpses of Emil Blonsky and Rick Jones.
Oh, Jesus.
And as this disgusting abomination vessel is just breaking down his body, and it's just his face sticking out of where Abomination's face was. In the creepy hands. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. It's
the greatest.
The new Abomination design is so good. It's so terrifying.
I mean, I was expecting, webbed ears and maybe a couple of 3-fingered hands, but no, I got something definitely Cronenberg inspired.
Yeah, you get hands over face. You get mouths where eyes should be. Like, oh my God. It's such a good, terrifying look.
Okay. Well, I think that's enough about Immortal Hulk.
I can never talk enough about Immortal Hulk.
We would definitely talk more about Immortal Hulk if I had read more issues. But I've decided to jump feet first into this issue as my start, and like, damn.
Yeah. Once they're going to start doing some hardcovers pretty soon. I'm going to start buying those so I can reread at my leisure without cracking open to my now expensive numbers 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, I guess they would get a little pricey now.
Number 2 is like an $80 book.
Really?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Well, in this, it's the law of comics. Number 1, everyone's going to get super popular in, but number 2 is going to have that smaller print run.
Yep.
And that one tends to be the pricier one because it becomes the harder to find.
Yeah, and there's a character from the Hulk TV show makes his debut in it, Dr. Fry, and a lot of people are speculating he'll be a bigger deal. I'm kind of like, the way he ends up in that issue doesn't seem to suggest he'll be coming back, but who knows? Maybe the speculators are right. Oh. Maybe Dr. Fry is the character find of 2018.
Well, where do you stand on this, on Immortal Hulk? If you've been reading it, what do you think about it? Do you think that the body horror of a Cronenberg-inspired Hulk is going to bring you back? Let us know in the comments below.
And maybe more simply, who's your favorite Hulk persona? I'm a Joe Fixit guy myself.
Yeah, Joe Fixit. I'm a Pantheon Hulk.
Very good. Professor Hulk's he's a close second.
I really enjoy the Gary Frank issues.
Oh, hey, Liam Sharpe drew some of those.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm green. And he actually, I
thought it was a Dale Keown product the entire time.
Dale Keown, like he starts it off, then Gary Frank picks it up. Liam Sharpe, I think, takes over after he leaves the Pantheon.
Oh, okay.
Like he does like the issues where they're on the run. But kind of one of my favorite bits that ties into Green Lantern is there's a page where Banner's in a sanitarium run by Doc Samson. And at that point, when Professor Hulk returned to Banner had the Savage Hulk's mind. And so he runs by and attacks another patient and who Doc Samson's like, I'm sorry, Mr. J. Like he kind of freaks out. And it's this old withered man with white temple. And he goes, it's okay, Sonny. My power ring protected me.
They did
so
not do that.
Liam Sharpe drew Hal Jordan for the first time way back in the early 90s. It's like right around Emerald Twilight.
This would not be you know what? As we're exiting on the comics and going into our movie and TV news, this would not be the only time that Marvel's pulled something like that. Back in the Quasar comics, you know exactly what I'm getting at.
Buried Alien.
There was a time when Barry Allen was, for all intents and purposes, dead at DC.
As he should always be.
For a long time. And we're a little divided. Actually, we're not very divided because we're both Wally West fans.
It's a pro-Wally house.
We are definitely a pro-Wally show, But for a while, Barry Allen was, for all intents and purposes, really, really dead.
For like 30 years, yeah.
For a long time. And during the time that happened, Quasar, which was already a weird and quirky book, so quirky, I almost want to think that but Peter David was involved in this at some point.
I don't think he was. It was mostly a Mark Gruenwald joint.
It was so odd.
Oh, yeah. Mark Gruenwald's a fun, odd guy, though.
Quasar was definitely the book you were going to go if you're going to dig up a D-list hero.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened is Runner, one of the elders of the universe, the original holders of the Infinity Stones, wants to have a race, find out who's the fastest there is. And, you know, they lay on up all the speedster heroes and villains. They even have Black Racer from the Serpent Society involved in this race, which was really weird. And so they're out the door. They're gone for like several pages. And all of a sudden this lightning thing happens. And this blonde guy in a shredded red and yellow outfit. And he's just kind of standing there, and they're like, "Oh, who are you?" He goes, "I don't really know, but the name, the sound Buried Alien sounds right." And then he just, boom, mainlines it and just totally passes by everybody and wins this race, this cosmic race. And I thought that was like the coolest, high class thing that Marvel could have done for Flash.
Mark Gruenwald was awesome. I can never understate. Oh my God, yeah. I really got to get one of those first print Squadron Supreme trades that his ashes were.
They put his ashes in the mix. Not the first time that Marvel would do something like that.
Oh, yeah.
They put Kiss's blood in
the first run on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah, they're going to be in San Antonio this weekend, I guess.
I thought they already did their like forever tour like twice.
You think Gene Simmons is going to leave money on the table while he's still able to walk on stage?
Apparently not. What's the name of this tour?
It is, it's like Final Farewell, but it's like the last show on the road or something like that.
Yeah, last show part 3.
Yeah, if I should have brought my ticket with me so I could just write it off.
So yeah, that's what happened, and I was really excited about that. But I love me some speedsters, so I was all about that issue. So tell me a little bit about the Watchmen television series that's coming up.
It's been described as a remix, as a sequel. It had a great second trailer set to Life on Mars by David Bowie, and it is premiering in 44 days on October 20th.
Yes, it's right around the corner on that one.
It is.
There's a lot of stuff happening in October. I don't know what to do myself.
Oh my God. Spooky season, man.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. I love Halloween stuff. Halloween, anything. October is my jam.
Same. But I'm very curious and tentatively excited for the Watchmen show. And I think I might have brought this up before. My big issue is the same issue I have with the movie. They cast Ozymandias too villainous. Well, I think he should be like a clean cut Chris Evans, Robert Redford type. And I think that's a big part of his character is how disarming he is.
It's my understanding from what I've read that this is actually a sequel series.
Yeah, because like Jeremy Irons is playing an older Ozymandias. But I feel like Jeremy Irons is too villainous of an actor.
It's so obvious. Even when Jeremy Irons is in a normal movie, like wasn't he in that one movie where we weren't really sure if he poisoned his wife or not?
I'm not.
It was based on a true story.
I got no idea.
I forget which one it was, but there was this really famous rich guy, and he went to trial for allegedly poisoning his wife.
Well, if it was Jeremy Irons, I'd say he did it.
That's exactly my point. You never get a conclusive ending as whether he did it or not. But the fact that Jeremy Irons played the character means it was Klaus von Bülow.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Talk about my brain kicking into high gear on that one. So, yeah, Jeremy Irons just being him immediately tells me that he poisoned his wife.
Yeah.
You just can't get past Scar.
But yeah, like going back, like Ozymandias is supposed to be like the last guy you'd suspect in Watchmen of killing all of New York. But like the movie, they cast the most obviously Weasley villainy actor they could. And like Jeremy Irons, he's Scar.
He's Scar.
He's the grumpiest Alfred. Scar. He's the evil wizard from the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I mean, even as Alfred, I knew that Jeremy Irons definitely had to have something sinister going on, like a little side event. Yes, Ben Affleck, go about your business. I'm going to do something sinister.
He's too good at being evil. And
he really is.
Like they should have cast. I really hate saying they should have. I wish they had cast someone like, and Robert Redford's playing President Robert Redford, which is a fun joke from the comic. But like, yeah, someone kind of like clean cut former leading man type. Like Chris Evans would be my ideal Ozymandias. Like,
yeah. God, that'd be, that's a trip.
Yeah. Like he should look like Captain America, Doc Savage, like Bruce Wayne.
I mean, I have to say that Ozymandias was actually some of the better parts of the Watchmen movie for me.
They were my least favorite parts.
Really?
He was just always like, isn't that interesting?
Well, the scene I'm really happy with is the scene with the delivery person, where the delivery person comes into the scene and Ozymandias says, that's the guy, stop him before he poisons himself. And he does this whole kung fu thing and then sticks that poison thing in the guy's mouth and covers it and basically kills him right in front of everybody.
Yeah,
that's the Ozymandias I enjoyed in Watchmen. Not so much the brooding douchebag. I have other issues with that scene. Mostly the woman's hand getting blown off in slow-mo. Oh, that was gross.
And, like it kind of is emblematic of a lot of my issues with the movie, which is that it's very indulgent in making things cool. When I was like, I feel like a lot of the big point of the book is these things aren't cool.
You basically what you're saying is that he sensationalized a lot of things that the book was trying to desensitize, not desensitize, but was trying to point out the absurdity of. Yeah,
like a big part of the interesting of the book for me is like how mundane a lot of the superhero stuff is,
or had become because it'd been around for so long.
Exactly. Yeah,
it was a culture that was started like before 2000, before World War II, and. Actually, it does talk a lot about, this is what happens to these poor heroes as they go along. And it's like the Moth guy or whatever his name is.
Who they bring back to a great effect in Doomsday Clock, I will say.
Because they put him, in the insane asylum.
And and the Mothman stuff in Doomsday Clock's really good. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah. I saw the Doomsday Clock Mothman outline in the fire.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to make of that.
It's issue 4 he's a big part of.
Yet more stuff in the book. I was like, what's going on in this? The Rorschach, kind of Rorschach. Don't go in that room. It's filled with fire. And then I got that moth outline. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
You got to do the reading.
I got to do the reading.
You jumped into part 11 of a 12-part series.
I definitely did that. That was bad. Now, something else that kind of creeped on the news line just recently. Guillermo del Toro has a new project coming up that just the description alone, without even a title, I'm totally on board for this thing. He wants to make a Western werewolf movie.
Awu in the Old West.
I was like, okay.
Like, just anything Guillermo del Toro does, I'll watch.
Yeah. And Doug Jones is apparently going to get himself another check out of that one.
You see him play a Wolfman. That'll be fun.
Yeah. He used to be was Doug Jones in Blade 2?
That's a good question, actually. He might have been one of the Reapers.
At least one of one of the Reapers at least. Because, I mean, he has like a partnership that is like, I will always have a paycheck as long as Del Toro is making fantasy, horror, sci-fi, whatever.
My only demand is that at least one werewolf wears a cowboy hat when it's transformed.
Or has like a bandolier of bullets.
Yes.
As it transforms into
I need to have the Western photo op werewolf.
So we don't know what the name of this movie is yet. And you knew I was going to bring this up. Joker.
Yes.
Everybody seems to be on my camp on this one. That Joker is just going to be outstanding.
I'm sure it could be a good movie. I'm not going to say definitively it's going to be bad. I'm just saying I don't think I'm going to like it.
You think it draws way too many parallels to King of Comedy,
which is a movie I really like.
And you are not the only person that's been drawing that parallel. Yes. A lot of people have been talking about that.
It's pretty clearly like homaging it, like between De Niro and Scorsese's involvement. Like, but it's just, why would I watch a version of a movie I already like, but dipped into an IP that I'm not that crazy about?
Because it might be just different enough.
Maybe.
That the parallel is just the skeleton.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm obviously going to see it.
Because I've actually read, when I say read, I'm trying to sound cultured. I got on YouTube and I listened to some reviews. And the stuff that they describe, it really, really sounds compelling. I think this is really going to be a masterpiece, honestly.
Well, we'll see.
Because I'm listening to the reviews, but I'm listening to reviews of people I've trusted that have had the same kind of aesthetic that I've had, the same things that I like. So when they're, blowing the horn of greatness, which doesn't ever happen with some of these critics, I got to stand up and go, okay, what's going on with that?
Alrighty.
So
we'll see.
Are you going to come with me to the Joker movie?
Maybe.
You going to be my date?
Maybe.
All right, cool.
You're buying popcorn though. So on another DC movie tangent,
yes,
the cast for James Gunn's Suicide Squad keeps getting better and better.
And British.
Yes, because now we have Peter Capaldi.
And I got to wonder what's going on with that.
A buddy of mine suggested Fiddler, which I'd be super down for.
I would be super down for Fiddler.
Exactly. And Pete Davidson's name's also being thrown around. And I would like I can't imagine he's not going to be a joke character.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the same friend that suggested Fiddler was saying, oh, maybe he'll be Yo-Yo, who was the stretchy guy that King Shark ate in New 52 Suicide Squad.
Oh, that was great. That one scene where you open up his mouth, you see him inside the mouth going, help.
The stretchy guy crawls his way out. Which,
Fiddler was actually one of the very original Secret Six.
Yes. Who promptly dies.
He did. He promptly died.
Golden Age Flash villain.
I'm going to say this. I love Thunderbolts. I love me some Thunderbolts. But on the DC side of things, nothing is better than Gail Simone's Secret Six.
Yes.
And
all-time great.
Love Gail Simone for bringing me this.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that I track almost everything she does. Well, I'm not reading that Red Sonja stuff because that's just not doing it for me. But everything else she does is great. It makes me, that's why I guess I'm a little bit brokenhearted that number one, there is no Secret Six comic and there's no DC Gail Simone project.
Yeah. Well, there is kind of a Secret Six project on the horizon,
which we were talking about a little bit earlier.
Yes.
Tell me and us about that.
So Batman Who Laughs is the new hotness over at DC. Not a character I particularly care about, but he's wildly popular. So,
and he's what came from Dark Knight Metals.
Yes, Dark Knight's Metal. He's a alt-universe Batman who essentially became the Joker.
Yeah,
he got hit by a Joker toxin, and now he is all the brains of Bruce Wayne and drive, but with all the sinister machinations of the Joker. And he has infected 6 characters with Joker venom. And those characters are Supergirl, Hawkman, Donna Troy,
Shazam,
Blue Beetle Jaime Reyes, and Jim Gordon.
That was an interesting choice with Jim Gordon. I guess that is a little destabilizing. And for Batman, probably right on the nose for getting somebody close to him.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they announced it just because... it seemed like they were hinting at it in the Batman and Superman book that just launched, but as a twist later on, but then DC's Twitters kind of threw it out there. I don't know. I feel a little cynical about it just because it's okay, this feels like a way to try and get people to buy Hawkman comics.
I'm not a big fan of the fact that they're using a Secret Six name for this.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
It's completely divorced from what the previous Secret Six, the most popular version of Secret Six.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it'd be unfair to act like Secret Six has always been the Gail Simone lineup, because it was originally kind of like a Silver Age Suicide Squad, military covert ops team. But it got amazingly rebranded into the 2000 Secret Six book that we both love. And yeah, it just feels like they're just trying to keep the name around.
And Secret Six has got its connections with Suicide Squad because it does share some people with it, but it's, to me, it seems like the best versions of those.
Yes.
The best versions of Deadshot is when he actually gives a crap about somebody. And he gives a crap about Catman, and therefore gives a crap about the others.
Yeah.
And the stories that Gail wrote were so cool that they even took one of those stories and made a Suicide Squad animated movie about it, which was about that... they were trying to find this magical card that got you out of hell.
The get out of hell free card.
So you could do whatever you wanted in the corporeal realm and you weren't going to be damned eternally. And you can understand why a lot of people would want that card. And in the Secret Six comic, it was outstanding.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It's still my favorite version of Bane is in Secret Six.
Yeah. It's the Bane that I'm a fan of. And random naked Bane is obviously a factor in that.
Alrighty. Well, we are getting the wrap it up sign from our producers, so we would be remiss to not remind y'all that Haphazard Fiction does have a Patreon. If you can give us $1 a month, that would be amazing. We're not too proud to beg.
Not too proud.
At the very least, give us a like and a subscribe.
Yes.
And maybe even answer one of our many questions that we asked throughout the show down below. Trying to get them sweet interactive clicks.
We like that.
We do.
We're a burgeoning show. This is our 4th week doing this. We're going to keep going on our weekly schedule with this. So you're going to be seeing us every, maybe Tuesday, Monday night, maybe sometimes.
I believe,
but Tuesdays when
Tuesday nights.
We're shooting for the day before next week's comics show up. That's the whole point of this. But we do want to hear from you. Let us know what you think. Constructive criticism is great. We've talked to all of our friends developing on this, and we've made changes because of it. And we're a constantly evolving thing. Our guys behind the scenes are always adding new things to this. Today we got new lighting. We like this new lighting. So yeah, I think that rounds up this week.
That does. We will see you guys next week.
Thanks for coming.